Hi everyone, I'm Nathan and this is Shana.
And this is our Toyota Coaster motorhome.
In this video, we're going to be giving you a tour of our home on the Rome.
Stay tuned to the end if you want to know how much it cost and how long it took.
Our coaster is a 2001 model with a 1HZ motor in it. And when we first bought it, it had about 350,000 Ks on it. So I'll get started showing you the outside of the bus. Up here above the entryway, we have a drop-down shower awning, and you'll see more about that later. We've also got a 3.5 by 2.5 meter awning that folds out. Got some fly screens on the windows that we built ourselves, and a little drop-down table as well. Another modification we've done to the outside of the bus is this battery access. By default, the coaster's batteries are accessed from the inside of the bus, but we wanted to build a cupboard there. So we've added this little hatch and that opens up and we can access the 2 starter batteries from in there. Underneath the bus at the back down here, we have our 2 freshwater tanks. They are 60 litres each. Under the bus, we also have a 60 litre grey water tank. And if you come around the back here, this is where we fill up our fresh water from. As well as the water filler on the back of the bus, we have our custom made bumper. Thanks, Dad. And what we've done for that is we actually used some of the original bumper. So you'll see the shape up the top here. We just cut along the bottom of that and built this platform on the back, of which we have secured our bike rack and ladder. So we're using the ladder for a bit of storage as well. We've got our stand-up paddleboard attached to that and a bin bag. So if we ever need to empty the bin inside the bus, but there's not one available, we can put our rubbish in there. But up on the roof, we have our rooftop deck, a spare jerry can, which we can fill up with water, and a toolbox for some storage. In addition to that, we also have 800 watts of solar panels up there, which keeps the battery charged up really nicely. The roof rack itself was custom built to fit our needs, courtesy of my dad again. What we did here was decided on the layout and built the frame to house everything, and then we welded some of the typical gutter mounts onto that frame to secure it to the bus. So on the inside of the back door here, I've actually got a King's fridge organizer. It's supposed to be put on the front of a fridge, but it works great for some storage on the back door. And then in here under the bed, we've also got a little cubby hole with a drawer for some tools and that sort of thing. On the left-hand side, I've got some more tools and spare parts, and also our hose for filling up the fresh water and that sort of thing. On the right-hand side, we've got our plumbing and hot water system, so I can access all of that and fix it if I need to. And I have needed to. Just the other day, we had a leak. We've also got a fire extinguisher at the back of the bus here. We can exit from the back of the bed if we want to, and we've got a fire extinguisher up the front in the cab as well. All right, let's have a look at the inside. So up the front of the bus here on my left, we have our electrical cabinet, and we also use that for storage of our shoes and some hanging storage. For our electrical setup, we have mostly iTech gear and it's performing just fine so far. We have a 240 amp hour battery, 3000 watt inverter, 240 volt charger, a 40 amp DC-DC charger, and a Victron solar controller. My cousin is an electrician and helped us out with the installation of some of the main components and all of the 240 volt stuff to ensure safety and compliance. Thanks, Mike. We've got the cab behind this curtain. There's not much to see there. We've got 2 overhead cabinets, 1 on each side. And also there's a part up the front which we didn't finish because we were running short on time and we couldn't figure out how to do it nicely, so we've just left it. So if anybody has any suggestions on how to cover those fresh air vents, we'd really appreciate that.
So in this cupboard here, we have our laundry basket, a couple of other laundry essentials, and then we've also got our little chemical toilet. It actually pulls out on some drawer slides, and then this door opens out this way, and you kind of have like a little cubicle, so it's nice and private. So when we first purchased the bus, we were toying with the idea of having a full-size bathroom, but we just couldn't get over the fact of how much space it was going to take up. That's when we saw someone had done their shower in the step, and we thought we'd try and recreate it. So how it works is we mainly have outdoor showers. As you would have seen, we've got a little outdoor shower awning, and this little tap just hooks on straight outside. But if it was really bad weather and we needed to, we can still have one inside. We've just got a little rod that packs away that has a shower curtain on it, And there you go, an indoor shower. So this is our Bushman's 190 litre fridge freezer. It runs off 12 volt. I absolutely love it. The only thing I don't like is that it's black. They used to make a white model and I really wanted that, but unfortunately it was discontinued and I couldn't find anything else in the realm of that. But we've made it work and yeah, it does the job. So when it came to the interiors of the bus, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted. And one thing I really, really wanted was crazy paved tiles. Nathan said no, so I did it myself, and I think it looks amazing, and it's one of the first things people compliment when they come and have a look in the bus. So we just have a little cupboard up here. It stores our toaster and our kettle and a few other little bits and pieces. So welcome to our kitchen space. We actually bought our kitchen from IKEA and heavily modified it to fit in the bus. Not something we would recommend that you try because it ended up costing us a lot more than we thought it was going to be, and it probably would have just been cheaper if we had built it from scratch. So we went for a white granite sink. It is a little bit heavier than doing a stainless steel, but I just really like the aesthetic of it. And I've gone for a gold tap, which looks absolutely stunning if I do say so myself. We built this little niche in here as well, just to put our soap and little bits and pieces. One thing I really wanted to have in the bus was a little tiled splashback. So up here we have an overhead storage shelf, and luckily Nathan's dad is a boilermaker and he was able to make me this beautiful custom wavy rail. He said it was the hardest thing he did for us, but we're very appreciative because I feel like it just adds so much character to the bus. So this is our induction cooktop. The reason we went for an induction was just because we didn't want to mess around with doing gas in the bus and we knew that we had enough solar to hold it. Over here we have our lights. We have one LED strip light underneath the shelving, and then we also have 6 downlights up above. We don't recommend doing 6, it's way too bright in here. Over here we have this little hanging fruit basket. As you can see, there's no fruit in it because we haven't done our food shopping. So these are our locking latches. They're from RV Labs. They look absolutely gorgeous. They were very expensive. And they were actually pretty hard to install into the IKEA kitchen. Where we've installed them in other places, no problems at all. We've been on the road for about 2.5 months and we've only had one fail us so far. So the IKEA kitchen actually ended at where these drawers are. And we've just added this little cupboard on here for our bin. So I won't go into too much detail about what's in all the drawers unless you guys want to see that. But pretty much it's just cutlery, cooking stuff. We've got toiletries in this one. These 2 are for our pantry. And then we've got cleaning and towels in this one over here. So this is mostly my wardrobe space in here. We've also got some space for our air fryer, our camp chairs, and some other cooking bits and pieces. So over here we have our dining/couch area. The table actually does fold down and we've got some cushions. This whole area becomes a couch. So in both of the chairs, they lift up and we've got storage in them. And then we've also got our diesel heater outlet and another power point.
The table just lifts up and then we replace the leg with a shorter one, which is usually stored in one of the chairs. This drops it down to the same height as the chairs, allowing us to use it as a couch.
So throughout the bus, you'll see these curtains. Don't look too closely because I actually sewed them myself and I haven't sewn since year 9 fashion, but we just attached them to the back of the ceiling. So over here, we've got Nathan's wardrobe. The reason why the top drawer is bigger than the bottom was because there was originally going to be 3 drawers. We were going to have the top one pull out and then make an L-shaped couch. I still think it's a really cool idea, but we just couldn't figure it out at the time and we wanted to move on. We might come back to it. So this is our bedroom. We have an Emma mattress. It came rolled up in a box, so it was nice and easy to bring into the bus, and so far we found it pretty comfortable. Underneath the bed we have some storage, so it lifts up, and we've got our hot water system and our diesel heater and just some things that we don't need very often. So for our bedroom lights, we just use these little rechargeable USB lights, and Nate's got one of these little pouches where he keeps some little bits and pieces in. And then over this side, we've got 2 little cupboards over here, and then a 3rd one in that corner. So this is our overhead cabinet. It was the first cupboard that Nathan built in the bus, and when he was building it, he told me he actually wanted to sell the bus and throw it all in, but luckily we didn't and we continued going. This just holds our extra bedding, some winter clothes, and just some other bits and pieces. So we've got 2 Sirocco fans. They're amazing. We've got one at our head and one at our feet. Just keeps us nice and cool and circulates the air through here.
Up here near the entry of the bus, we have our max air fan, and it can be used as an exhaust fan or to blow air into the bus. We usually leave it on exhaust, and it's great because it's close to the cooktop, so it's kind of like our extraction fan for cooking. And also, if we ever use the shower inside, it'll help pull the steam out of the bus as well.
So now for the big questions. First one being, how long did it take?
This bus build took us 2.5 years, which is a lot longer than we expected. We were thinking a year was realistic, but for us two with no experience, I'm a photographer, Shana's a makeup artist. There's a reason we don't work in trades. It was a struggle. In addition to that, we were both working full time, having to save money and spend it on the bus as we go. And that also meant that we only had weekends to work on it because it wasn't parked at our house. We only had a small rental. It was at my mum and dad's house, and we have to travel to get there.
So yeah, we definitely think if you had the skills and the time and the money, it would take you a lot less than it took us. But just be realistic when you're trying to think about how long something like this will take you.
Yeah, we thought we were realistic, but I'd say,
Double it.
yeah, whatever you think it's going to take you, maybe double it.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next thing is how much did it cost? Double that as well.
Triple that. So how much did it cost? You might want to sit down because you might fall over. So just take a seat. I'll give you a second. It cost us $57,500 to fit out this bus, and that's including the purchase price of $19,000. We bought it just as a school bus with all the seats and everything in it, and we thought realistically we'd spend about another $20,000 on it. That costing came from watching other YouTube videos of people that had done this sort of thing, and I think it only cost them about 15 grand. But what we didn't realize, and what I think they didn't mention, is that they had a lot of gifted items and sponsorships and that sort of thing. The only thing we got given to us was the fridge by Shana's dad. Thank you, Jay. But then other than that, yeah, the cost just kept going up and up and up. So
We also had to redo a couple of things.
because I stuffed it up because I don't know what I'm doing.
But we don't regret it. You know, we love our bus. We love the way that it looks. We kind of definitely achieved what we wanted to, and we think that's pretty comfortable.
Very livable. We don't feel like we need a break from the bus. We're not camping, that's for sure. But we never feel like, oh, we just want to go stay in a house or a chalet or something for a night. Like, I'd rather stay in here.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
probably brings us to the next point was how long do we plan on living in it?
I want to live in it for at least as long as it took me to build it. So 2.5 years minimum. We've been here 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I want it to be 2.5 years before we even think about doing something else. What about you?
Well, I want to keep it in the family so we can definitely, you know, keep the bus and pass it down to our children and our children's children if it's still going by then. But yeah, the good thing about it is we could definitely park it up on a block of land if we do decide that we want to build or do something else one day. But for now, we're really happy and we just want to continue traveling.
Traveling so much slower than you even thought possible.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions about anything at all, just comment them below.
Yeah, if you need us to go into any more detail or anything like that, just ask and we'll be happy to respond to you.
All right, we'll see you in the next video.